Hello all, in this video we are going to discuss about Buddhism. So we'll be covering about the life of Buddha, Buddha's major teachings and about this Buddhist Sangha. So these three will be the primary topic discussions and we are going to study about the early Buddhism only. So there are Buddhism and its further development in the later centuries, but we are going to understand the early Buddhism especially during this 6th century BC. Along with the rise of Mahajanapadas. Regarding the life of Buddha, the Pali Canon, Pali means the local language, Canon means their literary text, and according to this Pali Canon, Buddha is simply referred as an extraordinary man. So Buddha is referred as a man, but it's an extraordinary man having 32 major features or the features of Mahapurusha. So, Buddha is simply referred as extraordinary man in Pali Canon. At the same time, there is important reference that is Tathagata to Buddha. So, Buddha is also referred as Tathagata, meaning one who has liberated from the cycle of rebirth. There is the cycle of birth, death and rebirth in Indian religious history. And Buddha is one who has liberated from this cycle of rebirth, that is Tathagata. So Tathagata is a term or is a title given to Buddha. And the term Buddha itself meaning the enlightened one. Meaning of the word Buddha is enlightened one. Then the real name of Buddha was Siddhartha. So Siddhartha was the real name of Buddha. And he born to his parents Shuddhodana and Maya. And Shuddhodana, he was the chief of Sakya clan. And he ruled in the Kapilavastu region. So Siddhartha was born as a Kshatriya. And Siddhartha, he born at Lumbini. Lumbini was in Nepal. And later what we can see, according to Buddhist tradition, it is believed that after the birth of Buddha, some important saints, they claimed that he will become either a world conqueror or a world renunciator. So his father wanted to him have a world conqueror. And he later married and he had a wife called as Yashodhara and later a son named as Rahula. At his 29, 4 major things happened in his life that changed him a lot. He found an old man, a sick man, a corpse and a renunciant finally. Old man, sick man, corpse are major 3 important problems of the life and renunciant, a saint, he has the solution for this. Buddha understood such kind of philosophical understanding. And finally, Buddha left his home at his 29. Finally, Buddha, he took his asceticism and later he reached his enlightenment by sitting under a peepal tree. After his enlightenment, Buddha, he conducted his first sermon at Deer Park near Banaras and that is called as Dhammacakra, turning the wheel of Dhamma. And later, during his lifetime itself, he established a Sangha. Sangha meaning the monastic order having both monks and nuns. After preaching for 4 decades, he died at his 80 at Kusinara, that is in modern Kasia. Here I am going to ask one question. Kusinara, the death place or the demise of Buddha, and Kusinara was in which Mahajanapada? We have already covered an extensive video regarding the 16 Mahajanapadas. Among them, one important Mahajanapada that witnessed the Kusinara, that is the demise place of Buddha. Please comment your answer. So this is just an introduction regarding the life of Buddha. Now we are going to understand the major teachings of Buddha and Buddhism. So regarding his major teachings, the most important and the core of his teaching is the Arya Sachani. Arya Sachani meaning the 4 noble truths. One is the world is full of sufferings, that is called as dukkha. For this suffering, there is a cause that is called as samudaya. And this dukkha can be removed, that is called as nirodha. And how we can remove this? That is through achieving the following Ashtanga Marga. So these are 4 important truths advocated by Buddha, that is called as Arya Sachani. One is world is in full dukkha. And for every dukkha, that there is a cause called as samudaya and this dukkha can be eliminated, that is called as the nirodha, and that can be through this Ashtangika Marga that you can see here. And this Ashtangika Marga, that is the 8-fold path one can practice in his life, that is having right mindfulness, right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, and right concentration. Through practicing these 8 ways, one can remove his desires and finally he can escape from these sufferings called as dukkha. This is one of his most important teaching. Now let's look into some other important teachings made by Buddha. The second one is that the Buddha, he gave emphasis on impermanence, that is anicca. Buddha says that everyone lives and everyone dies. So there is nothing permanent in this world. So the emphasis on impermanence that involved in the rejection of any unchanging, permanent or eternal substance or such as Atman. So nothing is permanent in this world. Another important teaching is that Padicca Samuppada. Padicca Samuppada. That is the law of dependent origin. And this was an explanation to the dukkha. Dukkha meaning the sufferings. So by mentioning 12 important things, Buddha says that everything is dependent and due to these things there happens some kind of dukkha and everything. And most important, another teaching by Buddha is that the ultimate goal of one's life should be, that is the attainment of Nibbana. Nibbana meaning dying out of desire. We have to die out of desire. Thus we have to attain a kind of enlightenment in the life itself. And this Nibbana, that is also termed as Vimoga, Vimutti, Arhata. All this meaning freedom, mastery over the self and emancipation of self. That is the Nibbana concept, and those who attained Nibbana during their lifetime, they will die. That philosophy is called as Parinibbana. Parinibbana meaning complete or final dying out, means death of enlightened beings such as Buddha. Those who attained Nibbana, they will finally die. That is called as Parinibbana. And regarding Buddhist teaching, Buddhism that accepts the idea of transmigration of soul, that is called as samsara, but it rejects the idea of Atman. So what we can see, Buddhism rejects the idea of soul, but it believes or accepts the idea of transmigration of this soul. So what mean by this soul, or what might be this transmigration? It is believed that it might be the character or personality or life impulse of something. And another important teaching is that the doctrine of karma. So according to Buddhism, we have already heard about this karma theory, that is a result of one's action. And in Brahmanism, the karma means it is ritual action. In the Buddhist tradition, it is the intention of one, and which lead to actions such as of his body, speech or mind. And for this doctrine of karma, he had laid down some ethical code of conduct also. Another important teaching is regarding ahimsa. Ahimsa meaning what? Non-violence and non-injury. So Buddhism that gives some kind of emphasis on ahimsa, that involved a critique of Brahmanical animal sacrifice. So the ahimsa in Buddhism meaning it is against the animal sacrifice by this Brahmanical community. And also emphasized that the monks and nuns of the Sangha, they were not to kill animals, but they were not to forbidden from eating meat. So what we can see, ahimsa here meaning only animal sacrifice, not emphasis on complete vegetarianism. So if these monks and nuns were provided with the meat, they have to eat this. So these are some important major teachings of Buddha and Buddhism. Hope it is clear. Next we are going to have an understanding regarding this Buddhist Sangha. So we have already mentioned that this Sangha or this institution of these monks and nuns that were created during the time of Buddha itself. So we have one important reference or one important Pali canon that is called as Vinaya Pitaka, and that Vinaya Pitaka that provides some important rules governing the corporate life of the Sangha. So we can see Vinaya Pitaka that provides the rules governing the corporate life of the Sangha. So when we discuss about the Sangha, we are mentioning based on the text of Vinaya Pitaka. And there were two important sections in this Vinaya Pitaka. One is Sutta Vibhanga and one is Kandaka. So these are two important sections. At the same time, there was one appendix known as Parivara. So we are going to discuss about Sutta Vibhanga. So that Sutta Vibhanga, section 1 of this Vinaya Pitaka, that contains the Patimokkha. And this Patimokkha meaning a set of monastic rules, 227 for monks and 311 for nuns. So understand that there were more number of rules for these nuns than these monks. That is about Sutta Vibhanga. At the same time, there are some instructions given to these Buddhist monks and nuns. Especially, they have to stay in one place and not to move around during monsoon season, and that led to some permanent monastic establishment. They are eventually called as the viharas or aramas. So here we can see the development of viharas and aramas during the time of Buddha itself. There are some important ceremonies in the Sangha order. One is the Parivrajya ceremony that marked a person's going forth from his home into homelessness and he is becoming novice under a preceptor. So the first stage becoming a monk or nun is the Parivrajya ceremony. Then later comes Upasambhada ceremony. That is the ordinary ceremony when this novice that became a full-fledged member of this monastic community. So these two ceremonies are very important. One is the Parivrajya ceremony, that is home to Sangha. Then the full member of Sangha, that is Upasambhada ceremony. And as part of the Sangha instruction, and there were 4 most serious offences. They are called as Parajika, and they were the sexual intercourse, taking what is not given, killing someone, and making false claims of spiritual attainment. If one practiced any of these offences, he was expelled from this Sangha. Another important feature of this Buddhism was Buddhism promoted both Sangha institution and also promoted the laity teachings. So laity meaning the common people. So what we can see, the members of the Sangha, they taught the Dhamma to the laity. Dhamma meaning the moral principles. And the first lay followers of this Buddha were 2 merchants itself. They were Tabassu and Baliga. So what we can see, the laity or the common people, they were admitted into Buddhism. There were no such kind of discriminations. And the first 2 lay followers were Tabassu and Baliga. And there were some male laity followers. They were called as Ubasakas, and female laity followers were called as Ubasikas. So the laity were admitted into Buddhism. And regarding the duties of these laity people that were laid in the Sigalavada Sutta, and it gave emphasis on social bond. So for these laity people or common people, social bond was the most important feature, and that has to be ensured between parents and children, teacher and people, husband and wives, etc. So these are some important points regarding this Buddhist Sangha. So far we have discussed about the Buddha's personal life, his teachings, and about Buddhist Sangha. So that's all for this chapter. Hope the video was useful. Thank you.